Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
Welcome in, folks. It's Wake Up War Chant on this Friday. Thanks for being here. It's a special Friday, right? 420, man. This is it's the Wacky Tobacco folks. It's their holiday, I guess, Corey.
But be safe out there, kids.
Right,
whatever you're planning on doing on 420, be safe.
Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. It's still illegal. People can tell you that. Even though you guys think it's cool, it's still illegal. Be careful out there. It's a dangerous world.
Yeah.
You never know who might be looking through your trash. Corey, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good. Listen, I'm a little bit relieved because obviously we're going to start progressing further into the calendar, which means we get more divorced from football, and it's tough to talk about spring.
Right.
But I think at any point when we get bored, we can just always be like, I think DeAndre Francois is better than James Blackman. Oh,
here we go.
Or like,
let's do this.
I think
That's
Bailey
when you
Hawk
sound the siren.
Yeah, Bailey Hawk. That'll be the new one.
Yeah.
That'll be the new air raid siren goes for that. I'll be like, I think Bailey Hockman's better than DeAndre Francois. Oh,
hey-yo. Ooh.
Man, everybody's just throwing haymakers at one another in the thread. I think I slowly became a little bit convinced, I guess, and maybe Francois is.
What?
Just the better quarterback option. Because
who knows? Literally, who knows?
Well, I think the point.
It's weird that people have such strong opinions either way.
Crazy.
That, to me, is the weird part. I get that you might think that nobody that's rational could have watched the last two seasons, taking into context what Blackman had to go through last year, and say, you know what, DeAndre Francois by far gives us the best option to win in 2018. You might think he's a better quarterback, but it's marginal. It's not twice as better. You know what I mean? Like I think he's not head and shoulders.
But if this is the
so
thing,
that's why I don't understand how people could be so, staunchly defending one side or the other. It's like, man, and plus it's a whole different offense, and we didn't get to see Francois in it at all. So to have such a strong opinion either way seems kind of odd. I mean, I think either one of them could start.
Here's a guy who started it all. Nice work, Aslan, hearing you and Corey's take to what I said. Loved it. Never said Blackman was a scrub. Blackman looked in the spring game the same as he did most last year. So if you want to blame that on Gavin, cool, but he did not have to keep throwing to him. He had other receivers. If you all remove your emotions, you can easily see what I'm saying. At the end of the day, the game is about wins and losses, and I believe wholeheartedly DeAndre is the best chance. Now, what somebody's been talking about on the thread, on the Tribal Council, WarChant.com.
My emotions, I promise, have nothing to do with it. I don't.
Corey's like steaming mad right now.
I don't have. No, I mean, I'm not emotional about either one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's very even keeled.
Yeah, I get emotional about Danny McManus, Chip Ferguson. I get emotional about those guys, not these modern day quarterbacks.
These kids didn't even know who laid the foundation down. But the prevailing wisdom all 2017 long was, if Francois wasn't hurt, this team would be X, right? This team would be 8-4. This team would be 9-3, 10-2. So I'm like, well, that's actually a pretty good point. But they now each have 1 year of experience.
He also was a redshirt sophomore, as opposed to a true freshman.
Redshirt freshman he was.
No, last year he would have been a redshirt sophomore leading them through the season. So, of course, they should be better. He knows the offense.
Well, I'm saying they both have the same amount of starts now, practically, for all intents and purposes.
Yep.
So,
and neither one of them have zero starts in this offense.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I
saw that on the message board. It had a lot of replies. We don't, the Wake Up War Chant post doesn't usually get 50 replies.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they must be going back and forth. I didn't know if they were going back and forth on the Jameis Winston thing.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Or the two quarterbacks.
Nobody even cared. Nobody even cared about my hot take on Jameis, man. No one even cared. That really hurt my feelings. I thought I brought something strong.
Keep doing it every day. Come out with just a hot take.
I'm going to. Yeah. It's going to be a hot take factory in here, man. Electric factory. All right, so I also saw this. I guess apparently some sports personality, 680 The Fan, is that Atlanta?
Yep, it sure is.
All right, some person tweeted out to her followers. She got 20,000 of them. What's your wake-up music on Fridays? And this one guy responded, Wake Up War Chant is my wake-up music.
Oh,
They spin some great tunes. And the cool thing is that this lady, she tweeted out, what's your wake-up music? And she also tagged a couple
What's
people.
What's the lady's name?
Sandra Golden?
Yeah. She follows me. She's a very good broadcaster. Yeah. She's been doing that for a while up there.
She tagged Steak Shapiro, who I guess is also, I don't know, on that show, but also Brian Finneran.
Yep, he's a personality up there in Atlanta, too.
And this guy who responded that Wake Up War Chant's his favorite music and that I spin great tunes, Brian Finneran liked the tweet.
Man,
so look at that.
It's all happening, people.
I don't need your endorsement, Jameis. Once I got Brian Finneran liking
Fin Dog. He had some big catches for Michael
did.
Vick back in the day. He was Michael Vick's receiver for a little while.
Caucasian Cast Patchers Association, one of the founding members.
Well,
Not one of the founding members, but Steve Largent probably. Right? Oh no,
I mean,
Fred Biletnikoff?
You go back to the 50s and 60s.
Biletnikoff, right? Yeah,
Wasn't a lot of options, but Caucasian pass.
Old Sonny Hopkins back in Iowa State back in '42.
Yeah. Oh, Billy McGinney back in Oklahoma for the Sooners during their championship runs.
Hey, we didn't touch on this yesterday. We very briefly went over. We're going to get to the Renegade Express here pretty soon. We got a lot of good questions. We'll dive headfirst into it and plow through it all. Dude, Kobe Johnson went yard the other day.
He did, yeah.
The pitcher Kobe Johnson went yard. Like that's what? Like did he just get like? They are like
Well,
maybe we get some.
I don't know
Shohei
why.
Ohtani
I'm not sure why they batted
Ohtani,
him.
right?
I'm not sure why they batted him, but they did. And he got down 0-2, or maybe 1-2. It was 2 strikes. And I mean, there was nothing fluky about it. Like it barely got over the fence, but it was because it was a line drive. I mean, he crushed it.
Yeah.
It just didn't get very high, but he crushed a line drive into the bullpen. I mean, it was a pretty impressive
awesome.
swing.
When he
took a nice slow trot around the bases too. Man, soak that up, buddy.
Yeah, man. He turned around when he was turning around third. He looked behind him. He was like, "Man, did I really just do that?" Like,
It was funny. Mendoza, who was in the on deck circle, had just put his hands on his head for like 30 seconds. Like couldn't believe what he had seen.
I can't believe
What I just saw. Kobe Johnson. Kobe Johnson makes it 18-4.
The Knowles are stampeding over Stetson. Did you get to hear Willie on the ACC teleconference at all the other day? Taggart?
I did not. I did
Taggart.
not get to hear him.
Shout
Anything
out.
interesting?
Nah. I mean, he kind of reiterated a lot of what you've already asked him since you're a really good interviewer, journalist.
Sure.
They're out pretty healthy. Obviously, assess the team as being fairly healthy, pretty healthy coming out of spring. Also, DeAndre didn't really reveal anything new on that, but believes that he will respond to the new, or maybe not the new, but obviously the expectations that Willie has set forth. He feels pretty confident DeAndre is going to be able to live up to that. And then Bobby Petrino crashed the party.
Yeah, what did that mean?
Insert motorcycle joke.
I saw that Ira tweeted that, but I don't understand what that meant.
Yeah, just literally in the middle of the teleconference, you hear this. It almost sounded probably like the hold music when you call Louisville's football office. I'm sure they play their Gene Deckerhoff guy, and it's like, Lamar Jackson, touchdown, Cardinals. And then it's like, hello. And then Willie's like, hello. And Bobby Petrino's like, can you hear me? Willie's like, yeah. And there's like 3-4 seconds of silence. Bobby Petrino's like, this is Bobby Petrino. And then the guy from the ACC is like, Coach Petrino, this is, Steve at the ACC office. We're just going to need you to hold on real quick. We got one more with Coach Taggart. And then he's like calling. He said, if the operator's here, if he could take over. Operator, do you hear me? And then you hear some other guy come in like, correct. And then, I don't know, they somehow got him onto hold.
It'd be cool if Taggart and Petrino had a conversation.
Man.
That's funny.
So, yeah, ACC not wasting any time showing why they're the Conference of Champions. Actually, it's Pac-12. I'm sorry. You got to bring your A game.
What is the ACC? What's their little slogan?
I don't think they.
It's got to be something. SEC is like it means more.
It just means more.
Pac-12 is the Conference of Champions. Big 12 is, hey, look at that tumbleweed.
Right.
$75 million for Jimbo.
Big 10, we got big dollars from our network.
Yep.
I don't know, Big
ACC
10.
is excellence and.
I can't find it here.
All right, well,
it's going to be somewhere. I'll look it up during the break before we go to the Renegade Express and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, so that was his teleconference. So we probably won't hear from him until another week or so when he goes to Jacksonville. I think he starts his booster
That's
tour.
Right. You'll be there, right? Are you going to that?
I don't know if I'm going to that one or if I'm going to go to.
I feel like you should be at the first one, the one in Jacksonville. And I do think the people that are listening to this that are within cities, are in cities where he will be visiting or aren't too far away. I think it'll be worth going to see him. He's different than the guy before. He'll look at you, he'll smile, and I think he'll actually give some insightful answers and talk to you a little bit and make you feel good to be a fan. So if you there are a lot of people I think, or I've been told, it's not I think, I've been told that there were a lot of people the last few years that stopped going to these booster events because number one, they weren't sure if the head coach was going to show up, but if he did, he wasn't invested, he wasn't involved. Now, Willie Taggart might be that way in 5 or 6 years, too. Mm-hmm. Jimbo, it was Jimbo's 8th year or 7th year. But his first year, Willie Taggart's going to be all in on these things, and it'll probably be a lot of fun. It'll be a fun day if you go and go to these booster events.
He'll definitely be more personable, but I feel like Jimbo is more transparent's not the right word, but I think Jimbo gives you way more meat off the bone when he's talking about ball. I mean, he'll, maybe sometimes too much, he'll rattle off 17 players and all you want to hear about is who are the 3 or 4 that are doing really well. But then again, that's just not Willie's sort of thing. Willie's not just a big chatterbox, human, beatbox kind of guy where he's going to just rattle off everything. Everything's been the same. Listen, we want to install our offense. Offense hasn't been installed well. We're fairly healthy, happy with the way things are going.
I think he'll make, and again, it's part of being a first-year coach, and he's been on the job for 5 months. But I think he'll make everybody realize how excited he is to be the Florida State head coach.
Yeah, go to those events. I think I'm going to probably skip that out though. I think because he's going to have his body, the media guy with him. He's going to have the old DSAT on his hip, I imagine. So maybe I'll wait till the fuzz is off of him and then go in there.
Oh, right.
Both barrels blazing.
Yeah, just ask them all those questions.
Did you or did you not?
Order the code red.
Order the code red.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll see how that kind of goes. I was going to say something somewhat.
By the way, I didn't say what Nicholson. It sounded like I was about to, so you'd have to bleep it out, but I didn't actually say the words that Nicholson said in A Few Good Men.
I got you. Before we go to break, I keep hopping back and forth, left and right. I mentioned Panama City Beach. He's going to go out there for a booster event.
PCB. Yeah. Maybe go to is it Spinnaker's? What's the place you go out there with the
Spinnaker's? Yeah.
Oh,
look at you, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, Daddy liked back in the day.
Haven't forgotten at all. All right, let's step aside for our first break of the day. When we come back, we're powered by the people. It's the Renegade Express. All your questions from the Tribal Council coming up right here on ESPN 97.9 Tallahassee. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to the program. It's Wake Up War Chant, brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. And there are 3 great locations over in the College Town District, Madison Social, Township, and Central. I'm Aslan Hajavani, Director of Digital Media for WarChant.com. Senior writer and columnist Corey Clark, also here as always, riding shotgun, but usually bringing in all the ratings for us. Let's get right to it, man. It's called Renegade Express. It's over on the Tribal Council. It's the premium forums on warchant.com. Hop on over there if you haven't already. Get your free 30-day trial, warchant30. All right, let's go right to it. First question.
That's the promo code, right? warchant30?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me that today or last night at the little shindig I was at, and I could not remember the name of the promo code.
Way to go. Sorry. Way to bring people to the fold,
I
man.
told them to just give me $120 and I'd give them a subscription.
Comp them?
Yeah,
do we have that? Do you know how to do that?
I assume there's a way to do it, but I don't know how. But I still took the $120.
Good for you. Let's get right to it. Interfraternal Council Member of the Year from 2014, Maxwell Gibbs. Shout out, Gibby. What percentage of the other guys' route tree do you think Matthews and Terry did not know? The other guys sure looked out of place swaying after the A&M spring game, though. Congrats to them for also setting the spring game record. That was still 12,000 less than FSU. Yeah. How much of the route tree? I don't know.
30%, I guess. Is it hard to really know the route tree? I feel like if you studied it for half an hour, you'd know the route tree. I know that's the joke is people talk about the route tree. They know the route tree. They don't know when to run certain routes because they don't know what the safety's going to do, and they don't recognize coverages quickly enough.
Hot. They don't know when to run hot.
I bet they know if you just say, "Hey, go deep."
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to throw it up to you. You're 6'4" and you're faster than everybody on the field. Just go get it. And if it's high and he's covered you well, jump up and get it. Yeah. Just do what you got to do. DJ, I'm going to throw you a little quick out. Make a guy miss and try to get 16 yards.
Again,
seems like an easy thing to teach.
It's astonishing to me how everyone's embracing simplicity, right? Things are complicated, it's so overly complicated. Keep it simple, and you're
going to bring up 13.
No, I'm not going to bring up 13. It's fine
because the offense really wasn't. It was always kind of painful.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was always kind of painful. 13.
It was always on the cusp. I don't want to say. I think it was always on the cusp where you saw. You're like, man, if this thing could just, you're like, all right, Ponder's pretty good, but then he ran out of eligibility. Then you're like, all right, EJ Manuel's his guy, and it's like, he just doesn't have it. I mean, that was his third quarterback was Jameis. And you're like, all right, well, it's not that bad. It only took him 2 guys to get to this point.
And really one guy because Ponder was already on campus. And so Jameis was his second big-time recruit that he brought in after EJ, and he turned out to be really good, but it turned out that was just Jameis. I mean, none of the other quarterbacks he brought in ran it anywhere close to that. No. Nowhere close. The 2012 offense put up big numbers in certain games, But then they didn't score a point in the second half against NC State. They were terrible against Florida. They had like negative 20 rushing yards against Virginia Tech. All these things they did in 2012. Then 2013 comes along, you're like, oh, well, if Jimbo gets the right quarterback, the perfect quarterback to run his offense with an NFL offensive line and 2 NFL wide receivers and an NFL running back.
That's all he needs.
That's all he needs, folks. Yeah. And he's going to light it up and break records. And they did, because nobody could stop it. They were coached well, they were schemed well, and they had incredible talent. But other than that, it was all pretty good. Right. It was all decent to pretty good until last year when it was a train wreck.
I do like the whole what if thing that Willie preaches.
Yeah, man.
Or let us know. Like the what if. Like, all right, line up, this is what you're going to do. But if, they come up and press, then you do this. There's not.
And I think with receivers, man, there doesn't need to be a what if. This is what you're running. This is what you're running.
You need to list.
No, man. If the safety's cheating over, we have another route that takes advantage of that. The quarterback needs to read that, not you. If the safety cheats over the top, then our tight end is running a drag and he should be open. Whatever the case may be.
Right.
Every pass play has a couple options depending on the coverage. To count on a receiver who's a freshman to understand the complexities of some high-level Division I college football defenses is hard. Obviously. Tamori and Terry couldn't get on the field. Aslan.
He couldn't.
Team Slon couldn't get on the field.
I think it's
Gibby.
good. I think it's good.
Gibby, how did Tamori and Terry not get on the field? DJ Matthews caught, 2 passes before Jimbo left? 2?
Maxwell's not done. Side note, here's
right.
how the ACC should handle the football championship site. Get it in a rotation where for 2 consecutive years you have it in Charlotte, then another 2 where it's in Miami. There's not just 1, but 2 international airports in the area, and also who in the hell would not want to spend a December weekend in South Florida?
I like that they're international, too, because all the people from Europe that want to see the ACC championship game, they'll finally be able to fly to Fort Lauderdale.
Our friends from Belarus can come out and watch. That's important.
Finally, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's been too long. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things they can do. Putting it in Charlotte for the next decade seemed a little short-sighted to me.
Miami, I don't like the thought of it putting in Miami because
they don't show up for their own games.
Well, if they make it, they're going to have home field. I mean, maybe Orlando. Orlando's an international airport. There's only one of them.
Hey, Jacksonville's got a nice stadium, right?
Yeah. The NFL team likes to play there. All right, next question. Grumpy BK. Where do you project Keith Gavin and George Campbell being by late season in terms of depth chart and production?
Man, I wonder about George Campbell. He's the forgotten guy, with good reason, because he's never done anything. He's always hurt.
Ouch. Man, come on, man. He's from Eastlake High School, man. Show some respect.
No, I mean, but that's why people have forgotten about him. Some people, I'm sure, don't even realize he's still on the team.
Oh, no, they do. People always, is he out there? I saw 11. I saw 11 out there.
After what they saw with 15, 11 became a thing of the past. Now he can work himself back into it. He is a tall dude that can really run. And you got to imagine there's a space for him somewhere. And I think he had a nice didn't he have a nice catch in the Alabama game? Wasn't that him that had like a 50-yard catch? Or am I thinking of something? I thought he played early in the season.
I think NC State, he had like a big reception down the sideline, 50, 60 yards, and was pulled down short of the goal line. I think he might have caught a pass against Alabama.
I thought he caught a big one against Alabama. But either way, he played a little bit early and then got hurt. But he's a guy that can be used. I'm more than anything, you wonder about Gavin. I think Gavin is a guy that, as we talked about with iron sharpening iron, there's a lot of receivers now. There is actually receiver depth on this team now. If Gavin and if Campbell comes back healthy and Nooney comes back healthy, there's some actual depth. And I think that, I think Gavin will have to raise his game to play. And if he does raise his game, to play a lot, I should say, and if he raises his game, he should be a nice player, man. I think he can catch 30, 35 passes. Right?
Yeah.
Don't you think? 6 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, something like that. I mean, I think he's the kind of guy that he can make some plays. He can be a difference maker.
I mean, spring was kind of crazy to see this whole feeding frenzy from everybody from Deontay Sheffield to the guy Tamori and Terry couldn't even get on the field.
Really do much.
And then Keith Gavin was better with his arm. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know if there's he's so physical. I don't know if he's almost I don't want to say he hasn't grown into his body, but he needs you can see him out there, just this bundle of energy. He just needs to harness it correctly, I feel like. It doesn't seem like he has really good body control when he does go up for like a 50-50 pass. Yeah. I don't know, his sudden movements when he's coming out of his breaks and the ball's on top of him and a defender's on him. That's the sort of stuff you need to embrace as a wide receiver, but it feels like he gets rushed and hurried and loses focus and concentration.
Yeah, and he's still kind of technically, I know he's going to be a junior, but he's pretty inexperienced.
Yeah.
He didn't catch a single pass his freshman year, and then last year he missed a good portion of the season, and I don't know what he called, 20 passes, 16 passes. So he's still working into being a receiver at this level. But if he takes that next step, man, I think he could be a really nice player.
Let's rack some stats. Keith Gavin caught 27 passes last year for 278 yards. George Campbell had one catch for 21 yards against Alabama. Against NC State, he had 3 catches for 85 yards with a long of 60.
Oh, you remember that one well, buddy. Good work. Well, so he did catch the one against Alabama. Huge.
Yeah, 21.
Changed the game.
Which against Alabama, 21 yards.
That's big. That's like 60 against somebody else.
Darn tootin' it is. All right, next question. Get Down Black. All right, he's a friend of the program. Being that LeBourne showed out, what percentage of the touches you guys think he gets now? How many carries per game? How many does he take away from Patrick and Cam? My guess is 50% Cam, 20% Patrick, 20% LeBourne, 10% Amir Rasul and Zaquandre White.
I think that's fair. Man, I think that's fair right now. That's a fair assessment. That spring game didn't really show Cam Akers at all. But it's easy to remember how good he is. You just go back and look at a YouTube clip. He's really good, and I think he's going to get a lot of carries. I don't know that he's going to get 50%. I think he's more like a 45% guy. I just don't think – because 50%, again, that's like 27 carries a game. That's how much Willie Taggart, if this thing's rolling, wants to run the ball. So because I think he'd like to run it 50, 55 times a game. So I would think Cam gets 20, LeBourne gets 8, Patrick gets 8 to 10. You know what I mean? I think that's about right.
Well, it's going to be the biggest culture shock for Florida State fans, seeing a team going that fast or seeing a team running the ball like 65 times a game.
The fast. But running the ball, too, is going to be but, I mean, I think they're going to make enough big plays in the passing game that they'll be satiated.
They'll scratch the itch.
They'll be okay with the running the ball all the time because, number one, they're going to make huge plays in the running game. Because, man, again, when those Wake defenders are tired in the third quarter, that's going to open up massive holes for LeBourne and Akers and Patrick. And all of a sudden, 4-yard runs become 60-yard runs. But, yeah, I think they'll make enough plays in the passing game where it won't feel like it's Georgia Tech. You're not going to be watching Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
They will throw the ball a good bit because he knows he has good receivers and he wants to exploit them.
I don't see like where Jock Patrick really fits in, man, outside of goal line situations, really. I mean, between the 20s, if you have Cam and LeBourne, I just don't know if – I
think he's going to be – he's good, man.
He is, but young Bulls are good too, man.
I
think, really twice there in like the last 30 seconds. I'm going to check myself.
I still think LeBourne right now is your third stringer. I think Patrick has proven enough, and I think he's good enough that he's going to get as many or more carries as LeBourne. He's a good player. In the third quarter, he is going to wear folks down, and he's going to run aggressive and hard. You can count on him. He's a dependable guy. He's good out of the backfield catching passes. He can pick up blitzes. He can be a lead blocker. I mean, I think he has a really big part of this. He's going to be a big part of this offense.
I don't know, man. That's crazy how that's.
But we're also it's recency bias in what we watched with the spring game. Remember, Patrick, man, was he won them a couple of games last year. He had a really nice season, despite being banged up. And then it's good that they have depth. They have a lot of depth.
Good problem to have. Back to Keith and George Campbell. What do I see them in terms of depth chart and production? I mean, shoot, if Terry's going to be what everybody thinks he's going to be, and after he showed out in spring, DJ's going to be your slot guy. I mean, I don't know. Like, Nooney comes back healthy. I don't know if Keith and Nooney play, the X and the Y or whatever, the Z. I don't know if they play the same sort of position, receiver in terms of having responsibilities. Keith is that's another guy that, I don't see how much more he can build on his stats from last year. I mean, he caught 27 passes for 278. That's not a lot, but if they're going to run the ball this much and you have Terry out there and you have DJ Matthews that's going to be getting some catches, and who knows what these freshman wide receivers are going to be.
It's hard to imagine him having more than 30 catches because he's going to be splitting up a lot more catches with a lot more guys now. Yeah.
And I just don't know. I mean, it feels like Terry's going to be the big play vertical sort of threat. And if Keith's just going to, and Keith hasn't really shown any sort of knack to be like a possession guy either. I mean, he's got really great, 6'3", like 225. The guy looks like Adonis out there.
He can move. So, there's a place for him. Again, it's it's hard to judge on last season. It's just hard to.
It is, but the thing that also concerns me is in all the years of the previous regime, I don't like 8-man rotations at wide receiver. I really don't. I like roll 4 or 5 guys out there. Have a red zone patch for certain guys, but and obviously we can point to the quarterback that was throwing the ball or the offensive line was giving them time. But 2013, when it was just Kelvin, Rashad, and Kenny, who's going out there right now? Kelvin, Rashad, and Kenny. 3rd and 5, Kelvin, Rashad, and Kenny. 2nd and 14. So the more people you put out there, I get wearing people down.
I think you look at 4 or 5. I think obviously Nooney and Gavin are going to play. Terry and Matthews are going to play. Who else is in the mix? One of those freshmen?
Sheffield, I guess.
Sheffield, maybe. One of those freshmen, maybe. But I think you're going to have a solid 4-man rotation, a 4-person, and then one of those freshmen will come on and do something where he gets on the field a good bit. And maybe Sheffield, too. I mean, he looked nice. He had some nice plays in that game. He looked like he could be a good player at that position. But you have 4 for sure, which is what you need. 3.
That's true.
Florida State got lucky in 13 that none of those guys ever really got banged up or hurt. And Christian Green was the number 4 guy that just never got thrown to, but he was always the 4th guy on the field.
Why would they get hurt when the ball's being thrown to them in the absolute perfect location?
Spot. Well, sometimes he let them right into a safety, and Kenny Shaw would hold on.
Oh, that right.
I mean, he got helicoptered a few times and made some great catches. He's in Canada, by the way. I think he's had a nice career in Canada, Kenny Shaw.
He was in Brevard County for that booster thing that Gene and I went to a few months back.
Oh, good for him.
Still raw.
He's a good, of
Still
course.
Raw as ever.
Keeping it 300.
100.
No, he kept it 300.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to step back.
Man.
Let me try to correct the Coracle. Team Salon.
Come on.
Minus the demerit. Let's step aside. When we come back, is there any athlete when facing a deficit and then tying it is more lethal than LeBron James? We'll discuss that next on Wake Up War Chant, ESPN 97.9 Tallahassee.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
He's Corey. I'm Aslan's Wake Up War Chant. Thanks for being here, folks. Hop on over to iTunes if you don't mind. Leave a 5-star review. Also tell Corey how great you think he is.
And how you put up with Aslan.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for helping make my day tolerable and offsetting the guy that's a new host who's a loser. All right, back to the questions. By the way, it's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality, 3 locations. You know where. College Town. Check them out.
Mad so.
Captain D _63, a.k.a. Birdman.
Oh, is that all his handle?
No, but he's the guy that's got the bird in his avatar.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we just call it Birdman. I wish I could do the Berkeley, but I can't. That works. First, let me say I really enjoy listening to you both every day and enjoy having 5-star Ira come on from time to time to sub in. I also enjoy hearing from the best recruiting guy in the business, and Michael Langston. Okay, now that your heads are about to explode from greatness, my question is, after watching the spring game and seeing what these guys can do on the field, do you still see this team as a 9 or 10 win team, or can we possibly win 11 and go to the college playoff? Or are we about a year away from contending for that national championship? Have a great day if you want to. Go Noles.
Yep, have a great day if you want to. No, I think the schedule is a little too difficult. And to be honest with you, we don't know how good the quarterback play is going to be.
Yeah.
And I think in a place like this, to get into a playoff, I don't think it's at the level where Clemson was last year, where Clemson got just kind of quarterback play and still made the playoff. I think in a place like this right now, Florida State, I think, needs good quarterback play, and we don't know how good the quarterback play is going to be this year. Plus, I don't trust the offensive line at all. Not because Greg Fry can't coach. I don't know how much he was left to work with. So until those things are proven, I couldn't venture to say that they would win 11 games. They'd go 11-1 and make the playoff. I think, or 12-1 because they have to win the conference championship game. I don't foresee this as a 12-win team.
Landon Dickerson versus the world.
You love old L. Dix.
Some L. Dizzle. I don't know. Yeah, playoff probably not happening. Probably not. But when you think Clemson had nothing dynamic at all on offense last year, but they had a pretty darn stout defense.
Yeah, and they all decided to come back.
Yeah, losers.
Let's do it again. Who needs that NFL money?
I'm curious to see how it's going to work in terms of the defense, because I feel that there's definitely an upgrade on the coaching, but there's got to be there's got to be a drop off.
Well, you lost Derwin, you lost Noddy.
Josh Sweat, who might end up being some sort of crazy good NFL player.
Jalen Wilkerson. I mean, that guy was all over the field last year.
I mean, just an absolute rock.
And a wrecking ball. I mean, every team had to try to figure out a way to stop that guy.
Matthew Thomas.
You lost your 2 linebackers, 3 linebackers. Yeah, I don't expect it. I think the defense will maybe make more plays because of just the different kind of style. But I don't think they're gonna be as good as far as points allowed. I mean, it was a pretty solid defense last year. Not great, but pretty solid. I think they'll have some hiccups this year. There's not a lot to really put trust in yet.
Right.
Again, maybe by the end of September, we're thinking differently. Maybe they've really impressed us, and because I was probably saying this kind of stuff in 2013 too. Yeah. Although I knew they'd have a good defense in 2013, a really good defense. I'm not so sure about this one. I think there's talent there, but it's all young, and most of it is unproven.
Yeah, I kind of concur with that. I just feel defensively, like even if that front four ends up being really good and the back end is really strong, I just feel like I still don't know what we're going to get from the linebacker position. I know the crazy thing is they're going to put more linebackers out there. The linebackers are stoked, and they talk about how, you need to be able to make plays in space. It's like, well, that's why there's not linebackers on the field that much anymore these days, because that's why there's the nickel back. That's why there's the star position. It's these hybrid guys that are more secondary players than they are linebackers that are on every team's football field these days when they're playing defense. So that's one thing I'm kind of skeptical on, is that they are very set and happy about going to a 4-3 base, which I think, was probably 4-2-5 last year under Charles Kelly, more alongside of that. But I'd be cool if there was 3 awesome linebackers, but I don't know. I almost feel like 4-2-5 probably would be the best thing for this team right now, because if anything, there's more depth, there's more commodities in the secondary than there's the linebacker position. So we'll see. But you get to the quarterback. If you can get to the quarterback quick, which you hope Brian Burns will, he's talked about the fact, he's not hidden the fact that this is a money year for him. He does well, he's off. And if that back end can cover fairly well, then maybe the linebacker position won't be necessarily that much of an Achilles heel or a concern.
Yeah, again, I think the defense is going to be decent to good. It's the offense.
This is Florida State, though. Decent to good's not good enough.
Well, but as far as trying to get to 10 or 11 wins, the offense has to take a considerable step, and you have to imagine it will, just because of, you got more playmakers and you're going to have more plays. So all that helps, but, is it going to be good enough to get you to 11 wins as opposed to 9 wins? I mean, I think that's biting off more. That's a little too big of a reach for me anyway. I especially with the schedule. If it was last year's schedule, which wasn't all that, I mean, you had to play at Clemson, but other than that, you had Miami at home. You had games, Louisville at home. You had games you should have won. And this year's schedule, you got at Miami, at Louisville, at Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida.
Louisville doesn't have Lamar Jackson anymore.
I know, but it's still at Louisville. It's at NC State, who won't be bad.
Brian Finley's gone. They lost their quarterback, too.
Well, again, has it ever mattered in Raleigh who's the quarterback? Florida State always struggles to win there. They win more often than not.
They only struggle to win towards the end of Bobby's tenure, and then whenever Jimbo is here. And Jimbo struggled with a lot of weird ACC
but that's
teams.
The whole deal. That's 20 years now.
But this is a new guy, new culture.
Well, hey, you know what? I hope he goes in there and wins by 50 points. But typically they don't play well in there. And I do think NC State's a bowl team. So winning at a bowl team might be difficult. It's not a guarantee that you're going to go up there and beat NC State, beat the brakes off them. So you got about 7 or 8 games that could go either way, I think. I think you're going to be favored in most of them, but if you don't play well, you'll lose. There's only about 4 games on the schedule where you can play poorly and still win. So, I just think the schedule's there's not a lot of margin for error with the schedule, because there are going to be some games. I mean, you're not going to go through this thing unscathed. It's too hard.
Carlsbad Knoll.
Let's go, Carlsbad.
Will we be in shotgun 100% of the time, even on 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line? We laughed at Clemson when they did that. I think we need some 3rd and goal quarterback behind center packages. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to man, 99.6% of the time they're going to be in shotgun. Maybe when they get goal line.
When they get to the 1, or if they got 3rd and short, do they get up under center? I wouldn't think.
No, the 3 games I watched from Taggart and Oregon, I never saw them.
I think, man, the thing with short yardage in these offenses is it's not about getting 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends and getting all bunched up and trying to power push these guys. It's trying to snap the ball really quickly before they're set, and you get 3 yards before they're even set. Right. I think that's what these offenses try to do, and quite frankly, I don't know if it'll work at a high level. I don't remember Jimbo's offenses being great in short yardage. I just don't.
Tight zone, red zone.
Yeah, they weren't great at it. So I don't think this will be worse than what we've seen in short yardage, whether he's taking the snap out of the shotgun or not. And it really bothers me when teams are on the 1 yard line and they're in the shotgun. Mm-hmm. It just bothers me fundamentally as a football fan. But I get it. I understand it.
Even 4th and 1 when you're on the opposing 38-yard line, you can't punt and you can't kick a field goal. It's 4th and 1. I still don't like shotgun, but I
get it. I mean, that's what they do, and the key is to know what you're going to do and do it quickly before they're set.
Yeah. Conway,
and you do have really good running backs.
They do. That's where Jock Patrick comes in, man. 5-yard head start.
Come on, Jacques.
Conway T, 48-11.
Also, Cam Akers, I think, will get a few snaps in short yardage.
Yeah. Wild Cam.
As he's catching the snap. That's what I mean, yeah.
Aslan Corey, what are your favorite sports movies? One of my favorites is Blue Chips with Nick Nolte. Also wanted to say that Corey Clark is the stone cold Steve Austin of sports journalism. Man, that dude is awesome.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Stone Cold E.T.? The guy that goes through the drive-thru wearing an E.T. mask and he talks like Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No.
People, anybody that's listening to this, when you get to our work or even if you're on the treadmill right now, stop listening to this. YouTube Stone Cold E.T. It's the funniest thing you're ever going to see on YouTube. It is really funny. He does a pitch-perfect Steve Austin impression, but he's wearing an E.T. mask. Anyway, what was the question?
Favorite sports movies?
Oh, boy. I'm not going to say Hoop Dreams because that doesn't count because it's a documentary.
Never seen it. I haven't seen so many movies that'll make you sick.
Man, Field of Dreams always spoke
Never
to me.
seen it.
All right, well, then I'll answer this question. Who asked this?
Conway T, 4811. He's asking both of us.
I know, but you obviously don't count.
No.
Conway T, I'm going to say Field of Dreams is the one that always, it's probably my favorite because I saw it with my dad. Anytime it's on, it reminds me of my dad, and then it reminds me of the relationship I have with my son. It really pulls at the heartstrings. So that's probably my favorite one.
Field of Dreams. Sports. Your favorite sports movies, plural. So if you have a couple others you want to.
Hoosiers is good. I like The Sandlot.
I finally saw 30 minutes of Hoosiers the other day, a few weeks ago, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
I mean, again,
I have seen Sandlot.
You're not allowed to answer this question.
Sandlot didn't age well.
It's not great. But I watched it with my son, and when I was watching it with my son, I'm like, yeah, this kind of isn't as great as I remember it. But he loved it.
He ate it up.
So I'm like, all right, cool, man. He liked it. And Major League is really funny. Major League is I think Major League is the funniest sports movie of all time. I think you can make that argument, right?
Yeah, I'm a Major League.
Does Rocky count? I almost don't want to count Boxing because it's just it's its own sport.
All right, you don't have to say. But yeah, Rocky growing up was my thing. I remember I had a picture.
And you never saw the original Rocky, right? You're talking about Rocky 3?
I've seen every single Rocky.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Even the one that we don't talk about.
Right, that just got ignored completely.
That never happened.
Yeah.
Rocky was my jam. Varsity Blues.
Okay.
Any Given Sunday. Just because.
My thing with Varsity Blues is so the guy gets a scholarship from Florida State.
Yeah.
He tears up his knee.
Lance Harbor.
All of a sudden, nope.
Bobby wasn't
Bobby's
about
not because he's got
Chris Ricks coming through.
And Joe Mauer.
Yep.
So he doesn't want to. He's got Joe Mauer and Ricks and McPherson. Yeah. You don't want this kid that's hobbling around from this podunk school in Texas.
Back then, the injuries those were death sentences.
But the kid wasn't a running quarterback at Florida State. You're going to be throwing anyway. Just rehab the knee and get ready in a couple of years. You won't play for 3 years.
Well, didn't Kendra blow out his knee and then go from quarterback to fullback?
Yeah, because Winky was good. But I think if Winky hadn't been good, he'd have gotten another shot. But this kid had 3 years to rehab before he was going to be on the field at Florida State. It was like he was going to start as a freshman. They just pull his scholarship offer? Come on, man.
That's how it works.
All right. I mean, Bobby doesn't seem that heartless to me. I don't know.
I'm going to go really random on this.
Did you ever wear a whipped cream bikini?
No. Have you seen the fur on this chest? Right?
Yeah, I didn't know, but whipped cream would look nice on that probably.
Somebody commented on the video that we did at Doak after the spring game, and it was like, good work, Aslan and Corey. Really appreciate it. But I'm freaked out because Aslan has more hair on his arms than the rest of the staff at War Chant has on top of their head. And I'm like, dang, man, why gotta make me feel like that?
Well, you definitely have more than I have on my head, but I guess everybody that's listening to this has more hair on their arm than I do on my head.
This is a really random one. It's not one of the best ones, but I actually do enjoy. It's funny. Celtic Pride. Have you ever seen the movie Celtic Pride?
Boy, with Damon Wayans.
It's hilarious. It's like it's got terrible humor, but it's like good humor actually, or it's bad humor. It's good. I don't know. One of the other ways. But yeah,
does this count? Searching for Bobby Fischer. It's not a
chess.
sport.
We're going to talk about boxing. Can't count. Then you're going to go chess. We say Talladega Nights. Why don't you say Talladega Nights while you're over there?
No, but that's but I mean,
Days of Thunder. You want to go Days of Thunder?
No, because those aren't good movies. I mean, although I like
Cole Trickle,
Talladega
great
Nights.
name. That's an all-time movie.
Cole
name.
Trickle.
Yeah.
But Searching for Bobby Fischer. I guess it's a game movie, but I love that movie. I think that's a really good movie. It just happens to be about chess, which I know nothing about other than I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, never seen it.
Well, I mean that goes without saying. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Okay, well there you go. You know who Bobby Fischer is,
right? Wasn't he like in Russia for a long time? When didn't come back to America? He was over there.
Yeah, maybe Iceland
or asylum somewhere. Yeah.
And he turned out to be a horrible person.
Yeah, I read the newspaper. I just don't watch movies all the time.
There you go. But he was great back in the 70s. He was a really big deal.
Yeah, USA. All right, let's step aside. Final segment of the day coming up right after this. It's going to be the last segment for you folks on radio. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, then unsubscribe, and then subsequently resubscribe to it, and then leave a 5-star review. Radio show, final segment coming up, but podcast folks, hang on. We got 2 more probably because we're going to go OT. We got some more other questions.
All right, let's speed it up.
He's Corey Miles. We'll be right back after this.
The excitement of the Willie Taggart era at Florida State is in full force. That's why now's the perfect time to sign up at warchant.com. Warchant.com will have wall-to-wall coverage of spring football practice, including the latest on position battles, coach and player interviews, video features, and in-depth analysis. Warchant.com's 3-team writers, Gene Williams, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark, have 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. And warchant.com is the only FSU media outlet with a dedicated full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee with the latest on the 2019 class. For your 30-day free trial subscription, head to warchant.com and use promo code WARCHANT30.
Wrapping things up on the radio side of things here on ESPN 97.9 Tallahassee. It's Wake Up War Chant brought to you by For the Table Hospitality and their 3 locations over in the Collegetown district. Still several more questions to go through on the Renegade Express over on the Tribal Council of WarChant.com, Corey. So buckle up. Let Steph know that it might be a while.
All right,
let's get right back to it. This is one of my favorite words, although I don't know if it's cabal, but it's spelled with a K. I like that, like the word cabal. There's a cabal of people trying to, conspire against me and bring me down. Mm-hmm. Cabal 4256. Hey, Aslan and Corey, since we know your show is not live, do you have a certain time you record it? Say like 8 p.m., we've got to do the show, or is it something like, I've got time now, how about you? Great show, by the way, very insightful. Keep up the good work, guys.
Well, you take it, man. What do you think? I think it just varies from day to day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it depends what's going on out there. There's a baseball game. We'll come in a little bit later, perhaps. If there's no baseball, it might come in a little bit earlier. Obviously, we have to we share the studio with none other than Jeff Cameron, 3 to 6 weekdays right here on ESPN 97.9 Tallahassee.
Right. So we have to. It's always after that.
Yeah, so we're never here before 6 o'clock, so don't think that we're that much of slackers. But yeah, it's pretty much it's a democracy here. It's a 2-man sort of bicameral.
Hey, sometimes we have things going on. You obviously have Tinder dates every night. So we have to work around those, or I might be going out for dinner or doing something else. So we try to mix and match, and earlier the better usually, but sometimes they're late night. Sometimes they're 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think probably the latest show we ever did was after the Gonzaga game.
Was it the Gonzaga game?
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was late. That was like midnight.
Yeah,
but it's later than that. It was like 1 a.m.
It was super late.
Because that was a late game. That game didn't end.
It was like a 10 o'clock Eastern game, was it not? Yeah, that was probably our latest game ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much difference between 1 and 6.
Yeah. All right.
Might as well just done it live. Screw it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
We don't have a producer, but anywho, that's neither here nor there. FSU guy 1989. Hey guys, first off, that's my daughter Reagan in the photo with me. Has already mastered the chop at 2 years old. Awesome, thanks FSU guy. The other day, last week, I'm like, I don't know if that's a little girl or young little boy, but it's a beautiful little daughter. Good job, FSU guy 1989. We'll give all the credit to your wife. 2 quick questions. What true freshman that did not enroll early are you most excited for? For him, it's Warren Thompson.
Man, yeah, that's a good one. I was going to say one of the wide receivers just because you feel like they're going to get on the field quickest. I'm interested what they do with the kid from Buford, Georgia that's the running back.
Yeah, Anthony Grant.
Anthony Grant, right? I couldn't remember his name. Because he did play linebacker, and some schools recruited him as a linebacker. Willie said he's coming in as a running back. But I am interested to see what he looks like and all, because I also think Willie, if this guy's just like a Warwick Dunn super freak, I think Willie's the kind of guy that'd be like, you know what, he's getting carries for me. He's good enough that he's getting carries for me. So I think as freshmen, man, most people look forward to the skill position guys, right? Because they're the ones that can maybe see the field.
Defensively, I'll float somebody out there for you. Either the kid from Maryland, A.J. Lighton, or Asante Samuel. He's got that NFL pedigree.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
But neither one of them are going to start. I guess they could play, but neither one of them are going to start. No, I guess Grant or Thompson wouldn't start either, though.
And I'm cheating because I have the list pulled up.
Yeah,
just going off the dome.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about this kid from Long Beach, Cameron McDonald.
I think Deshaun Platt has a real chance to play.
Callahan Bright, I think, will help.
Callahan Bright's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. Just a huge mountain of a man in the middle. I think he plays right away, even as a...
Watch out, Marvin Wilson. Watch out.
I can't. Off the top of my head, I'm having a hard time remembering most of the guys.
I'm curious to see how this Cameron McDonald kid's going to fit into things here at Florida State. He was on
a tight end, right?
Yeah, he was on a documentary. Not him specifically, but his team.
Right.
And I don't know. He's got some flair to him. He's got a little. I don't want to say flamboyance, but
there's no way he's playing this year. I mean, they are loaded at tight end.
I mean, no one comes all the way from California to Tallahassee, Florida, to sit on the sideline next to Willie Taggart.
Oh, Cam is for this year because the McKinney kid. And Pops.
Here, McKinney.
I mean, those guys are going to play, and they're going to be good.
My answer was going to be Jordan Young, though. I didn't need to cheat to look at that one.
Wide receiver, right?
Yeah, I feel
Speed guy.
I'm really weird. I look at these kids. I look at them like prize, like racehorses. I got to see the look in their eye. I got to see there's certain guys you can give me photos of two guys and be like, one is going to end up in Gainesville, one's going to end up in Tallahassee. I can tell you just by the way they look.
Oh,
which one will go to Gainesville? Which one will go to Tallahassee? We just got to sort of look at.
Okay, I feel like you should be at a carnival.
It's like face guys, it's like in the fraternity.
Yeah.
Maxwell knows what I'm talking about. There's face guys in a fraternity.
Old M. Gibbs.
Yeah,
I feel like that should be like a carnival trick.
Jordan Young looks like he's got some dog in him, so I think he'll be a really good sort of addition to things. So let's put a bookmark right here. I said it was going to be a brief segment.
It is. Yeah.
Just to tease, we've got questions involving the hiring of Willie and John Thrasher, President John Thrasher, and Stan Wilcox involvement in that. Recruiting questions. Somebody who says, Aslan, thank you for trying not to suck so much. A guy who leads things off with, as my son used to say, real talk, and some rapid fire questions. And we got a new guy, longtime listener, new subscriber. All that will be coming up on the overtime segment
sweet. All right.
of Wake Up War Chant. If you're listening to us on the radio, thanks very much.
Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Yeah, do so. If you're on the podcast, buckle up. Best part's about to come. We'll be right back.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to the program. It's Wake Up War Chant. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you might be like, where did the music go? Well, we have to do this little tweak where we don't put music on the YouTube upload because it's copywritten and it's causing all sorts of problems because we play 10 seconds from a Pearl Jam song and Warner Brothers gets all upset. So we're stripping the music out for...
Eddie Vedder's all like, where's my money from Wake Up War Chant?
Yeah.
He's probably a devoted listener.
He's saying that. Release the music. But if you're on the podcast, we're still putting in music in there because I know it's important. It gives us, we can't hear it because I do it in post-production, but still, just the fact that...
I trust that you're putting on good music.
Little jumpy ditties. All right, let's get back to... Almost went a whole minute there without talking about sports. I'm sorry, everybody. Garnett. Am I ever going to say it right the first time?
No.
Never.
Nope.
Garnett, 76. Hey, guys.
G-Dog.
When Thrasher and Wilcox were hiring Willie, do you think that they even remotely envisioned things going the way they have so far, or did they see him just as a competent coach that would be willing to come here for a somewhat affordable price? By the way, I'm double-checking all bottled water before drinking now.
Yeah, so is Stephanie. I think they envisioned that it would go well. I think they met with him, realized his personality would be a nice mesh for this university. I think he probably knocked his interview out of the park and was really impressive. There's no way they envisioned 61,000 at a spring game. Zero chance.
Yeah.
They just didn't. They had no idea. Who could have? But they were astute. I think they felt like he was going to be the right person for this program post Jimbo, but they had no idea that he was going to. I don't think they knew he would. They thought he'd connect. I don't think they knew he'd connect to this level with this fan base.
I don't even know if they could have seen that. I don't know how much of what we've seen him in a few situations now where there haven't been cameras. It hasn't been a big production where we've just kind of sat down and talked to him and just shot the breeze very casually. He's still the same sort of mild-mannered guy, soft-spoken in those situations. I don't know what he could have really turned on in a job interview where he would have just seemed like, wow, this guy's the goods. Like, he's going to be able to. I just felt like they thought, okay, this guy's got a good track record of flipping around programs.
Right.
He's got Florida ties. He is young and energetic. We feel like that'll connect well with recruits. And, like, yeah, he appreciates this job.
Yeah.
He seems to value this job.
I think that mattered to them, though.
For sure. But
And
I
think they probably thought that's going to matter to our fans, too. Maybe not to this level.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been part of – I don't think that was part of the hiring process. Like, okay, he needs to make sure he lets our fans know he's appreciative. Otherwise, we're going to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
But I think that was a nice added benefit. You know what I mean? I think they were impressed by how much he appreciated the opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's the opportunity more so than maybe the actual job. Because like Jimbo went on and on about how much he watched Florida State growing up. There's the freaking picture of him on the sidelines at Salem or whatever with the Knowles hat on.
Right.
So, he had the same sort of affinity, but then for some reason just, never put his arms around it the way he should have. Jerk. Hey, guys.
You tell him.
This is Nav Chop from Middleburg, Florida. Nav Chop. Hey, guys, love the show. Since I was a student before Bobby, any winning season has a level of satisfaction. But I admit that
There's some real perspective for you if you lived through the Mudra years.
I admit, though, I was spoiled during the dynasty and think we should compete for the national championship every year. So do I, Nav Chop. I thought every year Drew Weatherford started, I still thought going to the year that this would be the year.
Hey, a couple good breaks.
I really did. I'm very excited about the current direction of the team and think recruiting is going great. My question may help you fill the dead time we have until fall practice starts. Well, thanks for looking out for us. I appreciate that. The unsung heroes on the team are the walk-ons. What has been the most successful walk-on we have had, and what does the current group of walk-ons look like, and who do you think might earn a scholarship?
No idea on the last two at all, but the most successful walk-on they've had is Andre Wadsworth, who was the number 3 overall pick. And in fact, it's the 25th anniversary of the 93 recruiting class, which is the best in Florida State history. It had Boulware, Renard Wilson, Warwick Dunn, Andre Cooper, Daryl Bush,
Greg
EJ
Fry.
Green, Greg Fry. It had like 14 or 15 guys that ended up going to the NFL. Pooh Bear. There's some other guys I'm not even thinking of. Greg Spires, people like that. But it also had 2 walk-ons who got drafted. Andre Wadsworth, who started as a walk-on, which is insane, ended up being the number 3 overall pick, and then Shevin Smith, who was a safety who made some really big plays in his career at Florida State, was also a walk-on. But, yeah, I think Wadsworth, you'd have to say, is without a doubt the best walk-on they've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was a legit walk-on. Like, they knew who he was. He was kind of one of those priority walk-ons, but they never came close to offering him a scholarship. And, he earned it after a year. But he was never. It wasn't like one of those. Like I think one might free up.
Yeah.
He was a guy that was treated like a walk-on when he got on campus. People didn't know him. He wasn't treated like a scholarship athlete because he was not one, and then he earned it. But that's the best story of it because he was just nobody knew about him really.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a long snapper that might be in line as a walk-on to get a scholarship. Walk-on, obviously, receivers are the only ones I really recognize. There's the Michael Barlick, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. He actually did really well in the first 2 practices that were open. He's part of the CPCA,
catching all those passes, yeah.
Caucasian Pass Catchers Association.
And then he dropped the one in the spring game.
He
that
did.
really kept the drive going. Yeah.
Come on, Mikey.
Come on, big guy.
And then scholarship, I think there's a guy that's related to Akeem Dent, who's like
the wideout.
Yeah,
he's a wideout,
84.
right?
Yeah. Apparently he had grade problems, but maybe he's a guy that eventually can. At this point, I don't think so. I remember David Kelly going at him a few times. So. But I guess he's a guy that supposedly had pretty good potential coming out of high school. He just didn't have grades.
And Javian Elliott was a great walk-on story. I think he's still with the Bucks, right? Like I think he got re-upped, or he at least played with them for 2 years.
I think a kid I went to high school with is actually his agent.
Wow, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that guy was. I mean, we still don't really know his backstory. He said he was working at like a hat, like in the mall at the Lids or something, or Foot Locker. And then a year later, he's playing at Florida State, earning a scholarship. And then the next year after that, he's on the Bucks. Yeah. So that's a really cool story too.
Tatum Bell, running back for Oklahoma State back in the day, he had a pretty good season with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
And then, with the Broncos. And then I think He got drafted, flamed out. Then he was selling phones like at a mall, and then he came back from that and actually had I think 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, man, those are always awesome stories. I think Atrus Bell was a walk-on too.
Yeah. Hey, I pulled up NoleFan.org. Shout out to the guys who run NoleFan.org. You want me to run off the names real quick?
Yeah, there's only a couple of them, right? Oh, I thought you were going to call
bunch.
the names of NoleFan.org, the guys that run the site.
No, but 93 was Chad Bates, Scott Bentley, Peter Boulware, Gideon Brown, Thad Busby, Darrell Bush, Byron Capers, James Colsey, Andre Cooper, Sam Cowart, Warwick Dunn, E.G. Green, Jermaine Green, Kevin Long, Jeremy Morris, Melvin Pearsall, Julian Pittman, Rock Preston, Philip Rowley, Philip Simpson, Greg Spires, Trey Thomas, Rodney Wells.
Yeah, Trey Thomas.
Pooh Bear Williams, Rodney Williams, Reinhard Wilson.
I mean, that's and that doesn't count Andre Wadsworth.
Yeah.
And also the last person they turned away, I think one of those guys is a tight end, and I can't remember. It might have been Pearsall. I can't remember. They had one scholarship left. Pearsall, I'm going to say Pearsall for the sake of this story, was the guy they gave it to. The guy they turned away was Ray Lewis. So he drove in his car to Miami instead.
Oh.
Can't get them all.
Jeez.
Can't get them all right.
Shoot. All right.
Ray Lewis, apparently, that was the story because I did a 20-year retrospective on that class a few years ago, and 5 years ago. And that was a story that I was told, is that Ray Lewis was like wanting to come, and they kept telling him they were going to have a scholarship, and then they gave the last one to a tight end. Hey, you know what?
Weekend.
There's a lot of what-ifs in the recruiting game. That class was still incredible.
Actually, I don't know. I don't think I'd want Ray Lewis's.
Yeah, you would.
We had to defend Jameis, and I still have to
Hey,
defend
man,
James
maybe
to this
that
day.
whole thing doesn't even happen in Atlanta if he had gone to Florida State.
That's right. Bobby might have got to him.
The butterfly effect, man. One little change in his life might have changed everything that happened after that.
Space-time continuum.
Yeah.
Doc Brown.
Yeah, exactly
Marty
right.
McFly.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Bo Knowles, Aslan, thank you for trying not to suck so much. You did break character the other day for a moment when you asked the Coracle if you should punt or pass, and then said, well, if Jimbo was tanking, blah, blah, blah. But overall, you've gotten better at hiding your Jimbo love, and I don't hate you quite as much as I used to.
Man, that should be on a Hallmark card.
Right.
That was really heartfelt.
All right,
Bo Knowles.
after that, thanks, man. He's got a question after that. If you guys had to walk down a dark alley in a bad neighborhood, other than Landon Dickerson, which two Knoll players are you bringing with you?
Dude, I would take the offensive lineman they just got a commitment from. That guy looks like
Dante
a 35-year-old bouncer.
Yeah, dude.
He looks older than I do. I mean, he is a huge dude.
He's a large human being.
Man, any of the linemen, I'll tell you, out of all the people that I've ever interviewed at Florida State, and it's been 10 or 11 years now, if I had to, for that question, it would be Timmy Jernigan. No questions asked.
Yeah.
That dude's arms. Eddie Goldman had huge arms too, but I feel like Eddie Goldman was a nice kid, and Jernigan was really nice to us, and he's been great in the league. Yeah. But at Jernigan, when you talk about somebody that has a dog in him, I mean, he picked up that Miami lineman and threw him down like they were in a wrestling ring. That guy is crazy, country strong, knows it, and I feel like he'd be the best protector.
Man, this is a really good question. I feel like I should have a better answer. I almost want to pose the question which two coaches would you want to have your back in a fight that are on the staff right now?
Walt Bell, because apparently he's into boxing and MMA. Like he's a
those guys never translate well to the streets though, bro.
You don't think so?
You can do everything
once in a ring.
You can do in the dojo, but when you're out
in a
there,
dark alley,
pop
it's a little
bellies,
different.
man, fists are flying, bar stools are going all over the place,
and he's getting in a stance.
You can't choke out a stool.
Fair.
I'm going to go completely. I think like Levante Taylor. I feel like he's just small and quick. I feel like he might be able to take two guys just with speed, like pap pap.
I think Eberle's got a little meanness in him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, from the country in Virginia, I think he could do some things.
God, there's got to be somebody that just strikes me as being just scary. Like who's just absolutely jacked on that team? It's just like, dude, he'll just.
Kando is the dude to me that looks like the biggest, like just crazy physical freak. It's incredible how big that guy is, but he's hurt. So, I don't know.
I'm going to move on to the next question. I'm going to look up the roster.
Jernigan's the right answer for since I've been covering the team. That guy, nobody would screw with that guy.
Janarius Robinson. I don't know if he looks scary. He might be a good deterrent. And then Levante can just kind of sneak attack somebody and like pap pap.
Well, they're so people, and when we say scare, or when Aslan says scare, when you stand next to any of these football players these days, man, the college football players, they are so big, they are so enormous. It is incredible.
I could take some of these guys.
Arthur Williams is huge. Marvin Wilson is huge. I mean, they are huge people. Dickerson is I guess he
Emmett Rice kind of looks like he's got crazy eyes. Like, I think Emmett Rice might, just like bite someone's larynx out or something crazy. Like, just.
Hey, man, you said it.
Next question. Finhead. As my son used to say, real talk. I know this is free, but I have kept my subscription again to contribute because I thoroughly enjoyed the show.
Oh, thanks, man.
Hear that, Mr. Williams? Keep it up. Also, Aslan, Lake Eufaula is about an hour from Auburn, and you wouldn't make fun of it if you had enjoyed the Auburn ladies on pontoon boats.
Oh, all right.
I don't think I made fun of it. It was Corey that was making fun of Lake Eufaula. I've actually said it's a very nice lake. It's the bass fishing capital of the world, or maybe the bass fishing capital of the South. Really good bass fishing in Eufaula, Alabama.
Say no more. You had me at bass.
But I will say, dude, even Alabama fans will begrudgingly, they will even admit that Auburn's got them on talent when it comes to female population. Auburn girls are, they're up there, man. Ooh. They're very pleasing to the eye. They're very aesthetically pleasing.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair.
I mean, hey, A.J. McCarron, that Catherine Webb or whatever.
Was she an Auburn girl?
She was an Auburn girl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
The girl who actually does the SEC commercials, the blonde lady who's like, it just means more. Pretty lady. She's an Auburn grad.
Okay. All right. A lot of Atlanta kids and high school students in Atlanta go to Auburn.
Yeah, they pull that. It's crazy how that works. Amstaff Knoll, some rapid fire again, fellas. Let's go. Down by 1, 3 seconds left. 52-yard field goal to win the national title. What current or former Knoll do you want kicking? Seabass.
Janikowski, yeah. Gano is right up there, too. That guy was clutch in college.
It's just so sad that Aguayo's the third guy on this list. Because right now, there's I don't trust him with anything. I might go with
Dan Mowry. I might go with Gwaltney, Cimarelli.
Chase Goggins?
Yeah. Jerry Thomas.
Xavier Beitia?
I feel like Jerry Thomas might have a better chance than Roberto Aguayo these days.
Who was the poor guy that missed the one in Miami in 2000?
Matt Munyon?
Munyon?
Yeah. Funyuns.
Number 2, would you go all Ronnie Lott on your pinky for a cool $1 million?
No.
Absolutely.
No.
What? It's the tip of your pinky. $1 million, the tip of your pinky? Absolutely.
No.
What do you do with the pinky? So when you're drinking your Michelob Ultra, you can point it to the sky? Come on.
When I'm drinking my Chardonnay, I point it to the sky.
Tip of your pinky for $1 million, you would not.
No. I don't, because I don't know what that feels like. I assume it's an incredible amount of pain. And the question should be, you don't get a painkiller for it. You just wear it. You just cut off the tip of your pinky, and then that's it. You're not going to a hospital. You're not going to a doctor. You just have to cut it off and live with it.
Did Corey wear the Independence Bowl sweater to meet with Willie on purpose as some sort of subliminal reminder of how far we have fallen? Also, why didn't Corey do the only logical thing and light that sweater on fire? I think you guys should have a ceremonial burning of the sweater and let Aslan produce a sweet video of the event. # did something.
I like it's more of a pullover than a sweater. And I like it. I like the way it fits me.
It's very versatile.
It's a really nice color for me. Necessarily, it's gray, but also I think it fits me well. And the girlfriend seems to like it on me and off me. Ooh, if you know what I'm saying.
Looks better curl up on the side of the bed, eh?
Yep. And so I wore that just to remind Willie, man, I don't need to be wearing one of these. I don't need a 2018 one of these. Yeah. I'm all set
Let me get a
for the Independence Bowl wear. Yeah. Let's go something else. Let's do something else.
Yeah. I'm very envious of it. It's a very nice sweater pullover jacket. I like it.
Should have been on board. You could have gone.
Keiko20, longtime listener, new subscriber. My wife opened up the pocketbook. Oh,
nice, man. Okay. Good.
2 questions. What is more likely this season? 3,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard receiver, 2 1,000-yard rushers.
I would say.
Golly. Doesn't everybody throw for 3,000 yards these days if they start the whole season? But, maybe Francois.
And I don't know that they're going to start the whole season. I would say 1,000-yard receiver.
And?
I don't know who it's going to be. Can't do that. But I think one of them will. And I don't think that's very likely. But I don't think any of those are very likely.
Rashad had over 1,000. Rashad was the guy that got over 1,000.
Kelvin did too. And Kenny Shaw was like 5 yards short.
Okay.
Yeah. They all came really close.
That was with that Heisman guy and that crazy offense.
Yeah. It was, and you had a 1,000-yard rusher too.
I'm going to say 3,000-yard passer. I feel the quarterback's
somebody's going to stick it for the whole year?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's what's going to happen.
Because that's like 240 yards a game or something. Yeah. That's a lot when you're running the ball as much as Willie wants to run.
But, there's a couple teams they should boat race. And
I'm saying regular season. If they get to a championship game and a bowl game, and you play in 14 games all of a sudden, then, yeah, they should have.
That's the way it works. Like doing over and under, and then it goes to overtime, man.
Well,
Clock's still
right.
running, man.
You're right. Yeah, you're probably right. I guess I just don't think – I think one of the other quarterbacks will start multiple games.
That's fair. And Cam Akers going to be stealing a whole bunch of throws, right?
Yeah, he'll have probably 8 throws a game.
Also, he goes on to add, how quickly can the combination of a new defensive scheme and mostly unproven youth turn the defense around? As in, how many points should we expect from Va Tech and others in the beginning of the season?
I don't know. If the defense is just as good as it was last year, because, again, the defense was pretty good last year. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the train wreck of early 2016. That's all you're wanting, because you got to assume the offense is going to be at least a touchdown better per game. At least.
There's nothing.
What they averaged last year, 25 a game. I don't even know what they averaged last year. They're going to be averaging over 30 points a game with this offense this year.
There's nothing I liked about the defense ever since Charles Kelly took over. Nothing.
Wasn't a whole lot to hang your hat on.
Ever.
Jalen Ramsey was fun to watch because he was so physical. But they don't wreak a lot of havoc unless DeMarcus Walker is sacking people. And, yeah, they didn't create a lot of turnovers.
I mean, if they can get to the quarterback and the back end can defend well, I mean, I think they'll be a little bit better.
Make a couple game-changing plays. That you're allowed to do that. And I think that this defense will lend more to that. But last year's defense didn't give up a ton of points. They played pretty well. But they didn't make any game-changing, game-swinging type plays typically. You know what I mean?
Florida, though, that was the one time they did, right?
They did, yeah. They got a couple. Well, they should have had 2 pick sixes, but my man dove at the half-yard line and then celebrated.
I'd say keep the teams under 27, and they'll be all right. But that's easier said than done.
Keep Virginia Tech under 27?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, anything under 27, 25, you should win those games. You should. You got a lot of talent on offense, even with the spotty offensive line.
And he signs off with looking forward to being a longtime subscriber. Hashtag Chris and Ivy. Hashtag Pal Saloon. So this is the guy. This is Chris and his wife Ivy that I met at the Palace the other
all right.
week. So
nice, man. And he subscribed. Good for you.
Awesome, man. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Next question. We're almost done, Corey. Okay. True Knoll. I listen to the show every day now. You guys are great and have really found your groove. Aslan, don't change a thing, brother. It works for you. I know you're worried about material for the show over the summer. I'm actually looking forward to see what non-FSU material y'all come up with.
A lot of Tinder stuff.
Cool. Sweet, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, you should.
Don't want to change a thing. All right, I won't.
Don't want to see your eyes.
Yeah, don't want to hear about Jimbo because I don't miss him, man. And I'm sick of you saying, man. Now to the question. Curious to know how many and who of the Jimbo era, of course, we go to a Jimbo question. How many and who of the Jimbo era players showed up for the spring game? Obviously, I know about Jalen and Jameis and Dalvin. And was Jalen here?
I don't know that Jalen was here for the game, but he was here earlier in the week.
Was he?
For doing a thing with Derwin.
Okay, I saw Telvin there as well. How about other guys from the national championship team?
Cam Irving,
Joyner, Jernigan, Freeman, KB, etc. Were those guys well represented on the sidelines? Did you get a chance to talk to any of them about their impressions of Coach Taggart?
I did not get a chance to talk to me, but I know Cam Irving was there too.
DeMarcus Walker was there.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, he was there earlier in the week. I saw him at practice, like on Thursday.
And here's the thing, maybe they didn't come for the spring game, but Jalen Ramsey did come and meet with Taggart, and he likes him.
Terrence Brooks tweeted something very glowing about Taggart.
Cam Irving was there.
So was James Wilder.
DeMarcus Walker was in town. All these guys, Devontae Freeman, they've all said.
Chris Thompson was there.
Chris Thompson was there. That's right. I guess he's the Jimbo here.
Jacoby McDaniel was there as well. I saw them embrace.
So,
Madison County
represent Cowboys for life.
Cowboy up.
So. These guys do have a connection with Taggart. The quote unquote Jimbo guys do seem to have established a connection with Taggart. In fact, again, we talked about it, I think a few days ago, but Jameis really likes Willie Taggart, really likes him, which is a big deal.
Huge.
And his parents, even so much that his parents stayed around, even when Jameis had to leave, his parents stayed around and watched the spring game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge thing as far as like what it means in wins and losses. But it's about building a culture again, man, and building a culture that all these guys feel like a huge family. And the biggest obstacle I think Willie had to make, and I said it before, was getting these Jimbo guys, and he got them. It seems like he got them hook, line, and sinker right away. They are all on board.
Yeah, Jameis, that's all that matters, man.
Yeah, well, but I mean, Terrence Brooks tweeting what he tweeted, and James Wilder Jr. saying he would love to have been a part of this. Man, that matters. That's a big deal.
Speaking of Madison County, actually that married couple I saw at the Palace, they I think they introduced me to a guy who actually played quarterback in Madison County. I think his name is Drew. I'm terrible with names, but he says he's a listener to the show. Big fan of yours as well, Corey. So,
all right. What's up, Drew?
I think he was like, dude, I handed
or
the
whatever
ball
your name is.
So I handed the ball off to Chris Thompson, man. That was my dude.
All right.
Like,
Well, that was fun for him.
Yeah.
They had another kid. I think his name was Corey Atkins, and he was a badass too, man. They were the year they won the state championship when I covered them, which I guess would have been 07 or 08. That was a ridiculous football team. Yeah. They crushed whoever they played in the state championship game.
Heisman with a Z. Welcome back, brother. It's been a while. He went AWOL on us. He was like asking questions every week, and then he just went and get it together. Got a relationship or something. Got a girlfriend, man.
Wouldn't you? You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. Heisman 20 asks, do you think the last guy kept the player access pool to the media shallow because he knew guys like LeBourne would speak the truth and call out things behind the scenes, a la Jacob Pugh?
Well, LeBourne was a freshman anyway, so that wouldn't have played into it. I don't know what the deal was the last few years when it came to player access. I just don't. But I know that I don't ever need to talk to Freddie Stevenson again for the rest of my life. And nothing against my man. He was a very nice guy, a good quote, and a very nice player at Florida State. But literally we got the fullback every week. Every week we got Freddie Stevenson. And it just got to a point where it became a running joke. There were 8 or 10 guys that were always the same, always saying the same thing. And I pointed out, I wrote a column, we talked about it, but we got 40 guys this spring. 40 different guys. And what I know we got to go. I have to go. We can't keep doing this all night, Aslan. You know that. But I talked to Derek Satterfield about it, and what he would do is when he's
this is the last question, by the way. So
okay,
you're good.
So when he would walk up to the practice field with Willie after all the player interviews had been done, and we were going to get Willie, he walks up and tells Willie who we got that day. That was essentially how it worked.
Okay.
Now I guess Willie could cross somebody off, but that didn't happen. Anybody that Sports Information wanted to give us, we got.
Yeah, I never made any requests, but I think they did send emails every now and then saying, like, if you have a request, let us know.
But last year, I'm just telling you, it wouldn't matter if you requested 7 guys or 17 guys. You were getting who they were going to give you. It wasn't who you requested. It's who they were giving you. And that's not the case this year. And they all seem to kind of enjoy it a little bit, these players.
Yeah.
Last year, under the old guy, it was a kind of us against them kind of mentality, which was fostered by him because he wanted to keep the circle tight. Circle tight, eliminate the clutter, all that. And again, I'll make the point, we work for you guys. We talk to them so the fans can get to know them. So they're talking to us. They're really talking to you. We're not asking gotcha questions, typically. We're just asking about their lives and their spring. It's not rocket science. It's not nuclear secrets. And this guy seems to get it, seems to understand it's part of the job. If you want to be an NFL player, you got to learn how to deal with the media. So he makes them do it, and he wants them to do it. And he doesn't, not yet. Again, it's 5 months. He's on a nice little honeymoon phase. He doesn't have Corey Clark.
He's still undefeated.
He doesn't have Corey Clark writing columns every week about how the program is plummeting. So when that happens, maybe he'll be less inclined to deal with the media and be good with the media. But right now, man, he's hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, and nothing really much to add to Corey's thing. I don't know if it's so much he was scared the guys are going to go all, Jacob Pugh and start, shooting,
how could they?
Circle firing squad.
I also think it comes from a guy that's very confident in what he's doing. What could they complain about?
Yeah.
He runs a fun program and they have fun. What could they possibly complain about?
Yeah. Well, I think Jimbo's thing was he had enough to worry about. The last thing he wants is somebody doing bulletin board material for another team or saying something in-house he doesn't want to get out. Not that I'm excusing him. So there probably is some fact that he didn't want anybody to go Jacob Pugh on there. And then look what happens when he steers off of his message and lets somebody else go out there and talk. And this guy starts shedding some light on things.
Somebody at least told the truth. My man told the truth.
We'll
always remember Jacob Pugh.
Paul Pierce has dubbed Jacob Pugh the truth.
He is the truth. No matter, I don't know if he's ever going to play in the NFL. He'll always be the truth to me.
We'll never forget that moment. We'll never forget the show. It's a strong show.
Pew, pew.
That's the sound of like the 5 stars lighting up on your iTunes review. Go do that for us, please. Appreciate it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Corey, have anything to say before we go?
I love everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week, folks.
It's Wake Up War Channel. We'll catch up with you later.